The two pink lines appeared on the pregnancy test like a sunrise, beautiful, inevitable, and life-changing. I sat on the edge of my bathtub, hands trembling as tears of joy streamed down my face. At 27, I hadn't planned this, but sometimes the best gifts come unexpectedly. My name is Natalia, and that moment in my bathroom marked the beginning of both a dream and a nightmare. You're what? My mother's fork clattered against her plate, the sound echoing through our weekly family dinner. I hadn't planned to announce it so soon, but the smell of Aunt Athena's signature lasagna had turned my stomach, and my quick dash to the bathroom had raised suspicions. I'm pregnant, I repeated, trying to keep my voice steady. About 6 weeks along, the silence that followed was deafening. My father, Gerard, stopped mid-chew, while my cousin, Kinley's face went completely white. Aunt Athena reached across the table to grip Kinley's hand, her knuckles turning as pale as her daughter's face. But you're not even married, my mother finally managed, her voice barely above a whisper. What about your art career? The gallery showing next month? I straightened my shoulders. I can be both a mother and an artist. Plenty of women do it. This isn't about your art, Aunt Athena cut in, her voice sharp. Have you considered what this means for Kinley? My confusion must have shown on my face because she continued, her words gaining momentum like a boulder rolling downhill. Kinley and Tom have been trying for 3 years. 3 years of fertility treatments, 2 miscarriages, and here you are, accidentally pregnant, unmarried, living paycheck to paycheck with your paintings. Athena, my father warned, but she wasn't finished. It's perfect, actually, she said, her eyes lighting up with an intensity that made my skin crawl. You can give the baby to Kinley. It would stay in the family, and you could focus on your career. The room started spinning. What? Think about it, my mother chimed in, and my heart shattered at her betrayal. Kinley and Tom have a beautiful home, financial stability. They're ready for a baby. You're not. I can't believe what I'm hearing. I pushed back from the table, my chair scraping against the hardwood floor. This is my baby we're talking about. Kinley spoke for the first time, her voice trembling. Please, Natalia. You don't know what it's like, wanting something so badly and watching everyone else get it so easily. So I should just hand over my child? Like it's a painting I can just give away? The words tasted bitter in my mouth. Be reasonable, Aunt Athena snapped. This isn't about you anymore. Think about what's best for the baby. I looked at my father, silently pleading for support, but he just stared at his plate, shoulders hunched. The betrayal cut deeper. I need some air, I managed to say, grabbing my purse and heading for the door. Behind me, I could hear chairs scraping as people stood. Natalia, wait, my mother called. We're just trying to help. I spun around, one hand protectively covering my still flat stomach. Help? You want to help? Then try supporting your daughter instead of trying to give her baby away. You're being selfish, Aunt Athena declared, standing with her hands on her hips. This is a blessing in disguise. God works in mysterious ways, and he clearly meant for this baby to be Kinley's. The room fell silent again, but this time it was different. This silence felt like the moment before a storm breaks, when the air is charged with electricity and possibility. The only mysterious thing here, I said, my voice steady despite the trembling in my hands, is how you can stand there and claim to love me while trying to take my child away. This baby is mine, and if any of you try to change that, I swear I'll make you regret it. I walked out, slamming the door behind me. As I got into my car, my phone buzzed with a text from my best friend, Delaney. How did it go? I stared at the message, tears finally spilling over. How could I possibly explain that my family had just tried to claim my unborn child? That my mother had sided with them? That in the span of one dinner, everything I thought I knew about my family had been turned upside down? Another text came through. Want me to come over? I started the car, my hands still shaking, but my resolve growing stronger with each passing second. They thought I would just roll over and give up my baby. They had no idea what I was capable of. Yes, I texted back, and bring your phone. We need to record everything from now on. They want you to what? Delaney's voice rose so high it cracked. We sat cross-legged on my living room floor, surrounded by half-eaten containers of ice cream and tissues. Give my baby to Kinley, I repeated, the word still feeling surreal, like it's a Christmas present or something. That's insane. Delaney grabbed her phone and started typing furiously. I'm texting Jack right now. He's the best family lawyer in the city, and he owes me a favor. A lawyer? Isn't that a bit extreme? Delaney fixed me with a stern look. Your family just tried to claim your unborn child. Trust me, you need legal protection. My phone buzzed again. Another message from my mother. I showed it to Delaney. Please call me. We need to discuss this rationally. Kinley hasn't stopped crying. Block them, Delaney said firmly. All of them. At least until you talk to Jack. The next morning, I sat in Jack Nelson's office, nervously twisting a tissue in my hands. He was younger than I expected, with the kind eyes that hardened when I mentioned my aunt's name. Athena Stanley? He leaned forward. I know her well. She tried to pull something similar with my sister years ago. What do you mean? Different situation, same manipulation tactics. He pulled out a legal pad. Tell me everything that happened at that dinner, word for word, if you can remember. I recounted the conversation while Jack took notes, his frown deepening with each detail. They've already shown their hand, he said finally. They're going to paint you as unstable and unprepared for motherhood. We need to get ahead of this. But they're my family, I protested weakly. Would they really? My phone buzzed with a text from Kinley. Can we meet? Just us? Please? Jack read the message over my shoulder. Don't respond. They're trying to get you alone, probably to pressure you more. From now on, all communication goes through me. What should I do? Document everything. Save texts, emails, voicemails. Record conversations if you can. This state has one-party consent laws. He started writing on a fresh page. We'll also need to establish your stability, your income, living situation, support system. They'll try to use your art career against you, so we'll show how it makes you a perfect candidate for flexible parenting. My phone buzzed again. Aunt Athena this time. Your mother is heartbroken. How can you be so cruel? This could be God's plan. God's plan, I scoffed, showing Jack the message. More like Aunt Athena's plan. This is good, Jack said, taking a photo of the message with his phone. Keep them coming. Every manipulative text is evidence. Evidence of what? Emotional coercion. If they try anything legal, we'll be ready. He handed me a business card. I'm taking your case pro bono. The Stanleys need to learn they can't keep doing this to people. When I left Jack's office, I felt stronger, but my hands still shook as I drove home. A familiar car was parked outside my apartment. My father's. He stood when I approached, looking older than I'd ever seen him. Can we talk? I remembered Jack's words about recording everything. I pressed the record button on my phone before answering. Depends. Are you here to convince me to give away my baby too? No, he sighed. I'm here to apologize. I should have spoken up at dinner. But you didn't. I know. I've always tried to keep peace in the family, but this time... He ran a hand through his gray hair. This time they've gone too far. Dad, they want to take my baby. They won't, he said firmly. I won't let them. But Natalia, you need to be prepared. Your aunt, she's not going to back down easily. Neither am I. He smiled sadly. No, you never have. You're just like your mother used to be before. Before what? But he just shook his head. Be careful, sweetheart. And whatever happens, know that I'm on your side. As I watched him drive away, Delaney's text lit up my phone. Jack called me. We're building your support network. Don't worry. We've got this. I placed a hand on my stomach, feeling stronger than I had since that dinner. They thought I was alone, unprepared, easy to manipulate, but they were wrong. I had people in my corner, and more importantly, I had something worth fighting for. My phone buzzed one final time, a message from an unknown number. "This is Jack. First rule, start a diary, document everything. Second rule, trust no one in your family right now. Third rule, get ready for war." I took a deep breath and typed back, "I'm ready." The gallery was quiet, except for the soft clicking of my heels on the hardwood floor as I hung my latest paintings. My first solo show was in 2 weeks, and I was determined to prove I could handle both my career and impending motherhood. "Need help?" a voice called from the doorway. I turned to see my mother standing there, looking uncertain. I kept my phone recording in my pocket as I answered, "I've got it covered." She walked in anyway, her eyes moving from painting to painting. "These are beautiful, honey. The colors are so alive." "Why are you here, Mom?" She wrung her hands together. "I miss you, we all do. Maybe if we could just talk about giving away my baby?" "No thanks." "You're not being fair," she said, her voice hardening. "Kinley has been to 3 doctors this week. Her depression is getting worse. And that's my fault?" I hung another painting with more force than necessary. "What about my mental health? Does anyone care how I'm doing?" "Of course we do. That's why—" She stopped abruptly, and I turned to face her. "That's why what?" She looked away. "Nothing. Just— Athena found a wonderful adoption lawyer. He could draw up the papers." "Get out!" My voice shook with anger. "Now." After she left, I called Jack. "They're already talking to lawyers." "Good," he said. "Let them waste their money. How's the documentation going?" "I've recorded everything, like you said, but something's weird. My mom started to say something about why they're doing this, then stopped herself." "Interesting. Keep digging. Family secrets have a way of coming out under pressure." That evening, I was sorting through old family photos for my documentation when I found it. A picture I'd never seen before. My mother, clearly pregnant, standing next to Aunt Athena, who was also pregnant. The date on the back made no sense. It was the year before I was born, and Kinley was already a year old in the picture. My hands trembling, I called my father. "Dad, I found a photo. Mom and Aunt Athena, both pregnant, the year before I was born. How is that possible?" The silence on the other end stretched so long I thought he'd hung up. "Dad, I never wanted you to know," he finally said, his voice heavy. "Your mother, she lost that baby. 7 months along. Athena had her baby a month later, but it didn't survive either. When your mother got pregnant with you the next year, Athena never really got over it. She always thought, well, it doesn't matter what she thought." "Yes, it does," I insisted. "Tell me." He sighed. "She thought your mother didn't deserve another chance when she couldn't have one. She's been holding on to that bitterness for 27 years. The pieces clicked into place. And now, history's repeating itself. Kinley can't have a baby, and I'm pregnant." "You didn't hear this from me," he said quietly. "But yes, this isn't about what's best for your baby. This is about a decades-old grudge." I sent the recording of this conversation to Jack immediately. His response came quickly. "This changes everything. Keep this quiet for now. It's our ace in the hole." The next day, Aunt Athena showed up at my gallery unannounced. "We're family," she said, her voice sickly sweet. "We shouldn't need lawyers." I kept my phone recording. "Funny, Mom mentioned you already found one. Only to make things easier, to do what's right. Like you thought it was right to punish my mother all these years?" She stiffened. "What are you talking about?" "I know about the pregnancies, Aunt Athena, about your baby and Mom's loss, about how you've resented her ever since." The color drained from her face. "Who told you?" "Does it matter? What matters is you're doing it again. using my baby to hurt my mother through me. You have no idea what you're talking about, she snapped, but her hands were shaking. This is about Kinley. No, it's about you. Your pain, your loss, your bitterness. But I won't let you use my child to settle your old scores. She grabbed her purse, heading for the door. You'll regret this, Natalia. When you're struggling as a single mother, when your art career falls apart, you'll wish you'd listened. Maybe, I called after her, but at least my child will know their mother fought for them. I sent the new recording to Jack with a message. Got her to show her true colors. What's next? His reply made me smile. Now we go for the knockout punch. Come to my office tomorrow. Time to file for a restraining order. The pieces were falling into place. They wanted a war, fine, but they'd forgotten one thing. I had nothing left to lose and everything to protect. The coffee shop was neutral territory, or so I thought. Kinley had texted asking to meet, promising to come alone. I agreed, partly because Jack said it could help our case, and partly because, despite everything, she was still my cousin. You look good, Kinley said, sliding into the booth across from me, her eyes fixed on my small baby bump, now visible at 12 weeks. Thanks. I kept my phone on the table, recording. You said you wanted to talk. She wrapped her hands around her untouched coffee cup. I miss you, we all do. Remember when we were kids? How we promised to be there for each other's big moments. This isn't what we meant, and you know it. I've been seeing a therapist, she continued as if I hadn't spoken. She says I need to be direct about my feelings. So here it is. I can't have children, Natalia. Ever. The last treatment failed, and my body, it just won't happen. My heart ached for her despite everything. I'm sorry, but let me finish. She reached across the table, but I pulled my hands back. You're an artist. You create beautiful things every day. But this could be the most beautiful thing you ever create. Giving us this gift, letting us raise your baby. Stop! I stood up so quickly my chair scraped against the floor. My baby isn't a gift to be given away. They're not a painting or a sculpture. They're my child. Please, her voice cracked. We have everything ready. The nursery is painted. We've bought clothes, toys. You did what? The recording forgotten. I stared at her in horror. Without even asking me? Mom said it would work out. She promised. Tears streamed down her face. She said you'd understand once you saw how prepared we are. A couple at the next table was staring now, but I didn't care. Your mother is using you, Kinley. Using your pain to settle an old score with my mom. That's not true, but doubt flickered across her face. She wouldn't. Ask her about the pregnancies, about the babies they lost before I was born. Ask her why she really wants my baby. Kinley's phone buzzed. Aunt Athena's face lit up the screen. Of course she wasn't really alone. You should answer that, I said, gathering my things. Ask her why she never told you about her lost baby. Ask her why she's really doing this. I was halfway to the door when Kinley called out, Wait! There's something you should know. I turned back. Her face had changed, hardened somehow. Mom already filed papers. She has evidence that you're unstable, that your lifestyle isn't suitable for a baby. The lawyer says we have a strong case. The betrayal stung, but I forced myself to smile. Tell Aunt Athena nice try. But next time, don't meet someone for coffee when there's a restraining order pending against your family. Her face fell. What? Check your mail. I walked out, hands shaking as I called Jack. They filed papers, I said as soon as he answered, and they're building a case against me. Good thing we got that recording, he replied calmly. Their lawyer's going to love hearing Kinley admit they're planning this behind your back. Come to my office, now. When I arrived, Delaney was already there, along with my father. What's going on? Intervention, Delaney said. Show her, Jack. He pulled out a file. Your aunt's been busy. She's contacted your gallery trying to cancel your show, called your landlord about noise complaints that never happened, even tried to access your medical records. She can't do that. No, she can't, my father said grimly. And that's not all. Tell her, Jack. The lawyer they hired? He's known for dirty tactics. We need to move fast. I've filed for emergency protective orders, but you need to be prepared. They're going to try to break you down. As if on cue, my phone lit up with a text from my mother. Please don't do this. The restraining order will tear this family apart. The family's already torn apart, I said, showing them the message. They did that. Then let's tear it down the rest of the way, Jack said, pulling out more papers. Time to go nuclear. Your aunt's past, the false reports, the harassment. We're putting it all in the open. But Kinley, I hesitated. She's as much a victim as I am. Sometimes, my father said softly, the kindest thing you can do is let the truth hurt. It's the only way to heal. I signed the papers Jack put in front of me, each signature feeling like another brick in a wall between me and my family. But as I felt my baby move for the first time, a tiny flutter like butterfly wings, I knew I was doing the right thing. They wanted to play hardball? Fine. But they were about to learn that sometimes the quietest person in the room is the most dangerous. They did what? I gripped the edge of Jack's desk, staring at the papers in front of me. The gallery had canceled my show, citing personal issues that might affect attendance. Your aunt's work, Jack confirmed, but she slipped up. The gallery owner recorded their conversation. Apparently, Athena threatened to spread rumors about drug use if they didn't cancel. My father, who had become a regular at these meetings, slammed his fist on the desk. That's it. I'm done playing nice. Dad, no, listen. He pulled out his phone. I've kept quiet about a lot of things to keep the peace, but this ends now. He dialed a number, putting it on speaker. Hello? My mother's voice filled the room. June, it's over. Either you stop this madness, or I tell everyone why you really let Athena control you all these years. There was a sharp intake of breath. You wouldn't. Try me. Our daughter is 5 months pregnant, and you're letting your sister destroy her life, just like you let her destroy yours. That's different, is it? Tell her about the money, June. Tell her what Athena's been holding over your head for 27 years. The silence stretched so long I thought she'd hung up. Mom, the money was supposed to be yours, she finally whispered. Your grandmother left it for you, but there were medical bills after I lost the baby. Athena offered to help, but then she held it over me. Said if I ever went against her wishes, she'd tell everyone how I stole your inheritance. Jack was already taking notes. How much money are we talking about? Almost $500,000. The room spun. I grabbed the wastebasket just in time as morning sickness, apparently an all-day occurrence now, hit hard. That's blackmail, Jack said when I'd recovered, and now we have it recorded. My father helped me sit up. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I should have said something years ago. Why now? I asked my mother, still on speaker. Why let her do this? Because she promised to make it right. Said if you gave the baby to Kinley, she'd forgive the debt. Said it was God's way of balancing the scales. And you believed her? My father's voice cracked with disbelief. I believed she'd leave our daughter alone. Mom was crying now. But she just keeps pushing. And now with the gallery, I can't do this anymore. I choose my daughter. Jack leaned forward. Mrs. Stanley, would you be willing to put that in writing? All of it? Yes, she said firmly. And I'll testify if needed. I should have protected you, Natalia. I'm so sorry. After she hung up, Jack was practically glowing. This changes everything. Financial coercion, blackmail, interference with business. We're not just looking at restraining orders anymore. We're looking at criminal charges. My phone buzzed. Aunt Athena. You think you've won? Wait until the judge hears about your mental state, your unstable income, the men you've dated. Speaking of men, my father interrupted, reading over my shoulder, maybe we should tell everyone about Thomas. Who's Thomas? I asked. Kinley's real father. He met my shocked stare. Athena's not the only one with secrets. The timing of her pregnancy, well, let's just say Uncle Miles might be interested in a paternity test. Jack's eyes widened. Mr. Fletcher, you've been holding out on me. I kept quiet to protect Kinley. But now? He shook his head. All bets are off. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Kinley. Mom's crying. Dad's yelling. What's happening? I showed the message to Jack, who nodded. Tell her to come to my office, alone. It's time she learned the truth about everything. As I typed the response, another wave of nausea hit. Or maybe it was fear. What if this destroys them? They destroyed themselves, my father said gently. Sometimes family isn't about blood or obligation. It's about who stands with you when everyone else stands against you. Jack started organizing papers into files. The hearing's in 3 days. Once Kinley knows everything, once your mother's statement is filed, he smiled grimly. Let's just say Athena's house of cards is about to come down. I felt my baby kick, stronger now, like they were saying, "Fight on, Mom." Delaney had bought me a fetal Doppler, and every night I listened to that steady heartbeat, reminding myself what I was fighting for. One more thing, Jack said as I got up to leave. The gallery owner, she wants to reschedule your show, says she's never letting anyone bully her artists again. I smiled, touching my growing bump. Tell her I'll be there. Me and my baby both. My father hugged me tight. That's my girl. Now let's go show them what happens when they mess with a Fletcher. For the first time in months, I felt truly powerful. They thought they could break me, but instead, they'd only revealed their own cracks. And through those cracks, the truth was finally shining through. The conference room in Jack's office felt too small for all the tension it held. Kinley sat across from me, her face pale as she listened to the recordings one by one. My mother's confession about the money, Aunt Athena's threats to the gallery owner, the conversation about Thomas. When Jack finally stopped the playback, Kinley looked like she might faint. This can't be true, she whispered. My mother wouldn't. There's more, my father said gently, sliding a manila envelope across the table. DNA test results. I had them done last week. Kinley's hands shook as she opened the envelope. Does he know? Miles found out this morning, Jack said. He's already filed for divorce. A sob escaped her throat. All this time, she's been lying to everyone? She's been controlling everyone, I corrected, using secrets and shame to manipulate us all. The nursery, Kinley said suddenly. She's the one who insisted we set it up, said it would prove our commitment to the judge. She looked at me, really looked at me, for the first time in months. I'm so sorry, Natalia. I got so caught up in what I wanted, what Mom said I deserved. You're as much a victim as anyone, I said softly. But Kinley, this has to stop, she nodded, wiping her eyes. What do you need me to do? Jack pulled out a statement he'd prepared. Sign this. Testify at tomorrow's hearing. Tell the truth about how your mother orchestrated all of this. She'll never forgive me. No, my father agreed, but you'll forgive yourself. As Kinley read through the statement, my phone buzzed. Aunt Athena. Emergency family meeting. Now, your mother has some explaining to do. I showed the message to Jack, who smiled grimly. Perfect timing. Everyone ready? We arrived at my parents' house to find Aunt Athena pacing the living room, Uncle Miles sitting stone-faced in the corner, and my mother standing by the fireplace, looking stronger than I'd seen her in years. You, Aunt Athena spat when she saw me. This is all your fault. No, my mother said firmly, it's yours, and I'm done covering for you. After everything I've done for you, the money was my daughter's inheritance that you used to blackmail me, Mom finished. Just like you used Thomas to blackmail Miles into staying quiet all these years. Uncle Miles stood up. 27 years, Athena. 27 years of lies. I did it for our family. Aunt Athena's voice rose hysterically. Everything I did was to keep us together. Together? Kinley stepped forward. You tried to steal my cousin's baby. You destroyed my father's trust. You've been lying to me my entire life. I was protecting you. No, I said, recording everything on my phone. You were controlling us. But it's over now. Aunt Athena's face contorted. You think you've won? Wait until I tell the judge about your father's gambling debts, about your mother's depression, about what? Jack stepped into the room. About how you've systematically abused and manipulated this family for decades? Please, tell the judge everything. I'm sure they'd love to hear about the blackmail, the fraud, the harassment. She lunged for my phone, but my father caught her arm. Don't, he warned. You've done enough damage. The hearing's tomorrow, Jack continued calmly. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to withdraw all claims to Natalia's child. You're going to sign a statement admitting to your actions. And you're going to stay away from this family. Or what? Or I file criminal charges, my mother said, for the inheritance fraud, for the blackmail, for everything. Aunt Athena looked around the room, seeing nothing but resolved faces. Her shoulders sagged. You're all against me? After everything I've sacrificed? You sacrificed us, Kinley said quietly. All of us. And now you're losing everything because of it. The papers are ready, Jack said, placing his briefcase on the coffee table. Sign them now, or we'll see you in court tomorrow. As Aunt Athena reached for the pen, her hand trembling, I felt my baby kick again. This time it felt like applause. I hope you're happy, she said as she signed. You've destroyed this family. No, I replied, touching my growing belly. We freed it. Later, as we left the house, Kinley caught my arm. The nursery. Would you like it? All the things we bought? They should go to the baby they were meant for. I hugged her, feeling the first real step toward healing. Come shopping with me instead. Let's pick out new things together. Start fresh. She smiled through her tears. I'd like that. The war was over. Tomorrow's hearing would just make it official. But as I drove home, I realized something. Sometimes you have to break apart what's broken to build something stronger in its place. The courthouse hallway buzzed with tension. Despite Aunt Athena signing the papers yesterday, Jack insisted we follow through with the hearing. We need this on official record, he'd said. No room for backtracking. I sat between my parents, Delaney squeezing my hand on one side while my father kept his protective arm around my shoulders. At 6 months pregnant, my baby was particularly active today, as if sensing the importance of the moment. All rise, the bailiff called. Judge Martinez surveyed the packed courtroom, her eyes lingering on my visible pregnancy before settling on Jack. Counsel, I understand there have been some developments. Yes, Your Honor. Jack stood, straightening his tie. We have signed statements from all parties, but given the severity of the situation, we believe it's crucial to have testimony on record. Proceed. My mother went first, her voice steady as she detailed years of financial manipulation and emotional abuse. Uncle Miles followed, confirming the DNA test results and Aunt Athena's decades of deception. Each testimony felt like another brick falling from the wall of lies that had surrounded our family. Then it was Kinley's turn. Mom told me I deserved Natalia's baby, she said, wiping tears. Said God meant for this child to be mine. She had me believe Natalia was being selfish, that taking her baby was the right thing to do. I let myself believe it because I wanted it so badly. And now, the judge asked, now I know the truth, that my mother used my pain to hurt others, that she tried to steal my cousin's child to punish her mother for something that happened before we were born. Kinley turned to face me. I'm so sorry, Natalia. I should have protected you, not helped hurt you. When it was my turn to speak, I felt surprisingly calm. Your Honor, I'm an artist. I create things for a living. But this baby? I touched my stomach. This is my masterpiece. My aunt tried to steal that from me. She used my cousin's pain, my mother's guilt, and our family's love against us. She lies! Aunt Athena shot up from her seat. This ungrateful girl has turned my whole family against me. I was trying to help, to give this baby a proper home. Mrs. Stanley, the judge warned, sit down or I'll have you removed. You don't understand, Aunt Athena continued, her voice rising hysterically. I lost my baby, my real baby. Then I had to watch my sister have another chance while I raised another man's child. It wasn't fair. None of this is fair. The courtroom fell silent, except for Aunt Athena's ragged breathing. Mrs. Stanley, Judge Martinez said quietly, life's unfairness doesn't give you the right to destroy others. Your actions show a disturbing pattern of manipulation and abuse. She turned to me. Miss Fletcher, what do you want from this court? I stood, one hand protectively over my baby. I want my aunt to get help, real help, not just prayers and denial. I want legal protection for my child, and I want my family to have a chance to heal. All of us, including Kinley and my aunt, if she's willing to try. The judge nodded, then spent several minutes reviewing the documents before her. Based on the evidence and testimony presented, this court orders the following. A permanent restraining order against Athena Stanley, preventing any contact with Natalia Fletcher or her child. Mandatory counseling for Mrs. Stanley before any modification of this order can be considered. And, she paused, looking directly at Aunt Athena, a criminal investigation into the financial fraud and blackmail allegations will be recommended to the district attorney's office. Aunt Athena collapsed into her chair while Uncle Miles quietly left the courtroom. Kinley moved to sit beside me, taking my free hand. Additionally, the judge continued, this court recognizes Natalia Fletcher's full and uncontested rights to her unborn child. Any further attempts to interfere with these rights will result in immediate criminal charges. Do all parties understand? The chorus of "Yes, Your Honor" was interrupted by Aunt Athena's quiet voice. I just wanted to make things right, she whispered, to fix what was broken. The only broken thing here, my mother said, standing, was what you did to this family. But we're fixing that now, without you. As we left the courthouse, Delaney hugged me tight. It's really over. Not quite, I said, watching Kinley hesitate by her car. Hey, cousin, still up for that shopping trip? Her face lit up. Really? Really, but this time we're buying aunt stuff, not mom stuff. She laughed through her tears, and for the first time in months, it felt like family again. Different, broken, but healing. My phone buzzed. A message from the gallery. Show opens next week. Theme, rebirth, ready? I looked at my family, the ones who stood by me, the ones finding their way back, even the empty spaces left by those who chose pride over love, and knew exactly what I would paint. Ready, I typed back. More than ready. It's perfect, Delaney whispered, standing beside me in the gallery. The centerpiece of my show was a massive triptych, 3 panels showing a family tree being torn apart by storms, then growing back stronger, with new branches reaching toward the light. You really put them in the painting, Kinley said, pointing to the subtle figures woven into the branches. All of us, even her. I nodded toward the darker sections, where Aunt Athena's silhouette lingered in the shadows. She's part of the story, too. The gallery was packed for opening night. My father stood proudly by the entrance, greeting guests. My mother moved between the paintings, explaining the symbolism to interested buyers. Even Uncle Miles had come, standing quietly in the corner with a glass of wine. Sold, the gallery owner announced, placing a red dot beside the triptych. To an anonymous buyer. Anonymous? I raised an eyebrow at Jack, who was trying too hard to look innocent. What? I'm a lawyer. I appreciate good art, he grinned, especially art that tells the truth. A commotion at the entrance drew our attention. Aunt Athena stood there, looking smaller somehow, more fragile. She's violating the restraining order, Jack muttered, reaching for his phone. Wait, I said, touching his arm. Let me handle this. I approached her carefully, noting the papers clutched in her hands. You're not supposed to be here, I said quietly. I know. She held out the papers with trembling hands. But I needed you to have these. It's the trust fund paperwork. Your inheritance. I've signed everything back over to you, with interest. That's not why you came. She looked at my belly, now 8 months round. No, I started therapy. Real therapy, not just church counseling. My therapist says I need to make amends, but more than that, I need to face what I did. To everyone. And I'm sorry. Truly sorry. Not just for what I did to you, but for what I did to Kinley, to your mother, to everyone. She wiped her eyes. I won't ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know I'm trying to change. Kinley appeared beside me. Mom, I'll go, Aunt Athena said quickly. I just needed to deliver these papers. Stay, I found myself saying. Just stay on the other side of the room. This is a show about healing, after all. She nodded gratefully and moved to a quiet corner, while Kinley squeezed my hand in thanks. The evening continued. Art sold. Champagne flowed. Sparkling cider for me. And slowly, carefully, something shifted in the air. Uncle Miles briefly spoke with Aunt Athena. My mother showed Kinley photos of her own pregnancy with me. My father told embarrassing stories about my first art show in kindergarten. You did this, Delaney said, gesturing to the room. Not just the art. You brought them back together. Not all the way, I corrected. Some breaks can't be fully mended. But they can be reformed into something new, Jack added, appearing with another buyer. As the evening wound down, I felt the baby kick particularly hard. Someone's a critic, I joked, then gasped as another pain hit. Natalia, my mother was instantly beside me. Is it time? No, it's too early. But even as I spoke, I felt liquid running down my leg. The gallery erupted into action. Jack called my doctor. Delaney grabbed my hospital bag from the car. My father cleared a path to the exit. I'll drive, Kinley offered, then hesitated. Unless you want your mom. Both of you, I said through gritted teeth. I want both of you. As they helped me to the car, I caught a glimpse of Aunt Athena watching from the gallery window, her hand pressed against the glass. Our eyes met briefly, and I gave her a small nod. Not forgiveness, not yet, but acknowledgement. Recognition that even the darkest parts of our story led us here. Ready to be a mom? Delaney asked as another contraction hit. I looked at my support system, my fierce best friend, my protective lawyer, my reformed cousin, my strengthened parents, even my healing extended family, and smiled through the pain. I already am, I said. I became a mom the moment I decided to fight for this baby. Everything since then has just been proving it. The gallery lights dimmed behind us as we drove away, but I knew the art would remain, telling our story to anyone who looked closely enough. A story of family, of fighting for what matters, of breaking and healing and growing stronger. And now, as new pain ripped through me, it was time for the next chapter to begin.